The interview is being done with the Deputy Prime Minister in charge of European Affairs, National IPA Coordinator and Chief Negotiator with the EU. Thank you very much for your contribution in this project and taking part in it.
Thank you for the invitation. I'm really glad that I have a chance to share views and information and make this interview for the transit project. And I think that this project for green transition and for energy transition is one of the key in the IPA framework, and we encourage these activities and these projects to be multiplied in the future.
Which initiatives that you are aware of are currently happening in the country in the field of upskilling and reskilling related to renewables?
Well, the government takes a serious action regarding the renewables and the energy. Investing in infrastructure and investing in the energy sector are of key importance, and in the two key areas of this government, given the situation in which we operate as a government in times of energy crisis, security crisis, and economic crisis right after the COVID crisis. So all these crises have affected the government to put in front of the priorities the energy issues and also economic development. Investing in renewables is part of the economic and investment plan of the government, which is endorsed by the European Union. Significant amount of the projects of the countries of Western Balkans actually are dedicated, committed to transition to green energy, climate action, and other sectors. Also to this, we can add the new IPA 3 package for the program period of 21-27 that allocates in average 100 million euros per country for per year for North Macedonia, supplemented by other projects which come from Western Balkan Investment Fund and direct strategic investments from EU member states. I would just mention some of these projects to make an example how much we care and how much we invest in this. For example, two energy projects through which, by building solar photovoltaic systems in Bitola and Oslome 2, as well as in Oslome 1 in Kičevo, green energy will be provided for over 11,000 citizens. Then rehabilitation of 6 large hydropower plants in the regional systems of Mavrovo, Crndrim and Tikves are investments that have been financed through Western Balkan Investment Fund in the field of energy in the last 2 or 3 years. Then the new 17 megawatt solar power plant, an investment that is provided by the government, by the company coming from Slovenia, Gen 1, has recently started to operate. But we also pay a lot of attention to the interconnector with Greece, Alexandropoli project, and also the project, one of the largest Greek companies, Mytilineos, that has also been declared a strategic investment in our system for construction of cogeneration power plant for the production of heat and electricity in Skopje, and an installed capacity of 150 megawatts, which will also be presented to the parliament for approval. I would just mention in this part for the next 2 years that all 130 megawatts of photovoltaic power plants should be put into place by way of premiums for which contracts have been signed in the past 2 years. Authorization for construction of the 3 wind power plants with a total installed capacity of 110 megawatts have been issued to private investors. And most significant project, Chebran, is a historic project for which, for the first time in the mandate of this government, it has been restarted. If everything goes according to what is prescribed in the documentation and requirements, we will finally have an investor who will be able to start the construction of this huge project, which is of strategic importance. So I would just once mention the interconnector with Greece, which is for us extremely important and will connect us to the Trans-Adriatic gas pipeline. We will receive gas from Azerbaijan by that, which is one of our priorities, to diversify the sources of energy in these times of crisis. Beside all these efforts, North Macedonia adopted a new energy development strategy until 2040, which is completely based on the European Green Agreement, and we are already implementing this strategy in our country. We will continue with these efforts and we will definitely stay on this line with the European green strategy to transform and also to make our economy more sustainable and to diversify the sources of energy.
In your opinion, on what level is our country's government currently implementing EU policies, including the electricity market developments, risk preparedness, and measures to mitigate energy poverty and secure a fair energy transition?
I would say that in all levels we are implementing EU policies, but we all know that the process of energy transition is not such a quick and cheap process. For an energy transition, which in addition to strengthening our energy stability and security, will open also new jobs and affect rapid economic development in our country, we need serious reforms and investment in the coming period. According to the strategy for the development of energy and the green impact, which has been adopted by the government, it is planned to launch the production of electricity from coal lignite. But the energy crisis, I'm sure, will delay the shutdown of the planned thermal power plants for a certain period, because we need to be realistic and we need to see how to overcome the crisis first and then to go back and to finalize our strategic commitment. Package of 80 million euros that we got for North Macedonia from the energy support of the European Union is practically the strong budgetary influx from the European Union to overcome and to help all the vulnerable social groups and also vulnerable groups in the economy that to survive this energy crisis that we have faced in the past year.
What action is required that our country would have clean, affordable, and secure energy? What more could be done?
The reform process will be difficult for us, and the negotiations with the European Union will impose inevitably a new pace on its implementation, as for the countries that negotiate. We should not forget that the reforms, particularly in this area, the environment, will require a lot of financial resources. Therefore, the use of European funds will be important for us to complete the reforms. The changes that follow with the reforms will be difficult for the business operators, for the citizens, but also I'm sure that we will see all the benefits in the end. So it's worth investing in this transformation. It's worth using the partnership with the EU to do more on this. Having in mind the low energy reality, which has a direct share in the sustainable development of the country, but also the region and the European Union, it is of particular importance to speed up the green transformation with real and concrete actions, of course, overcoming the crisis at the same time. The country has an ambitious plan for investments in renewable energy sources. As I mentioned, only few of the projects, but of course our priority, if we manage to implement all these projects, is to come to a point which we will be able to close the power plants that use coal as a first step to this transition. Of course, we need help in further development of the national legislation that should be aligned with the EU policies on climate, energy, and living environment. I would just mention that the EU Economic and Investment Plan envisages a significant amount of projects for the Western Balkan countries, particularly on topic of green energy transition, climate action, and other sectors. Also, the new instrument for pre-accession assistance, the third package for between programming period 21-27, allocates, as I mentioned, approximately 100 million euro a year for North Macedonia, topped up by other sources that offered by the Western Balkan Investment Fund and also credit opportunities from the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development and European Investment Bank.